Hi, I'm KK Reads. Today, we're going to read Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 of Toys Go Out by Emily Jenkins. Pictures by Paul O. Zielinski. Below you'll find a link to the comprehension questions. I hope you'll take a moment to like and subscribe while you're there. In today's story, you're going to have a job to do. You are going to play the role of Lumpy. Lumpy is a buffalo in the story, and I think he's a little bit of a grumpy guy. I think he sounds like this. So when you see the green highlighted words, read along with me in your best Lumpy voice. Chapter 1. In the backpack where it is very dark. The backpack is dark and smells like a wet bathing suit. Waking up inside, Lumpy feels cramped and grumped. I wish I had been asked, he moans. If I had been asked, I would have said I wasn't going. Shh, says Stingray, though she doesn't like the dark backpack any more than Lumpy. It's not that bad if you don't complain. We weren't told about this trip, snorts Lumpy. We were just packed in the night. Why don't you shut your buffalo mouth, snapped Stingray. Your buffalo mouth is far too whiny. There's a small nip on the end of her tail, and Stingray curls it away from Lumpy's big, square buffalo teeth. Plastic usually hums when she is feeling nervous. Tum tum, tum 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 tiddle-tee, she trills to see if it will make the inside of the backpack seem any nicer. Don't you know the words to that song? Asks Lumpy. There are no words. It's a hum, answers Plastic. No one says anything for a while after that. Does anyone know where we're going in here? Wonders Lumpy. Plastic does not. Stingray doesn't either. My stomach is uncomfortable, grumps the buffalo. I think I'm going to be sick. Ba, ba, bump. It feels like the backpack is going down some stairs, or maybe up some stairs, or maybe up something worse than stairs. Stingray tries to think calming thoughts. She pictures the high bed with the fluffy pillows where she usually sleeps. She pictures a little girl with a blue barrette who scratches where the ears would be if Stingray had ears. But none of these thoughts make her feel calm. I hope we're not going to the vet, Stingray says finally. What's the vet? Asks Lumpy. The vet is a big human dressed in a white coat who puts animals in a contraption made from rubber bands in order to see what's wrong with them, answers Stingray, who sometimes says she knows things when she doesn't. Then he pokes them over and over with needles the size of carrots and makes them drink nasty tasting medicine and puts them in the bumpety washing machine to fix whatever's broken. If anyone needs to go to the vet, it's the one-eared sheep, says Plastic, remembering the oldest of the little girl's toys. And Sheep's not even here. No, we can't be going to the vet. We aren't broken. Speak for yourself, snorts Lumpy, who feels even sicker than before at the thought of the bumpety washing machine. Whoosh, whoosh, the backpack begins to swing, back and forth, or maybe round and round. I hope we're not going to the zoo, moans Stingray. They'll put us in cages with no one to talk to, each one in a separate cage, and we'll have to whoosh back and forth all day and do tricks on giant swings with people throwing quarters at our faces and teasing. I don't think we're big enough for the zoo, Plastic says hopefully. I'm pretty sure they're only interested in very large animals over there. I'm large, says Lumpy. She means really, really large, says Stingray. At the zoo, they have stingrays the size of choo-choo trains and plastics the size of swimming pools. Zoo buffaloes would never fit in a backpack. They eat backpacks for lunch, those buffaloes. Is that true? Asks Lumpy, but nobody answers him. Plunk, the backpack is thrown onto the ground, or maybe into a trash can, or a garbage truck. We might be going to the dump, cries Stingray. We'll be tossed in a pile of old green beans and sour milk cartons because the little girl doesn't love us anymore. And it'll be icy cold all the time and full of garbage eating sharks. And it will smell like throw up. I don't think so, soothes Plastic. I'll be forced to sleep on a slimy bit of used paper baggie instead of on the big high bed with the fluffy pillows, continues Stingray. There's a noise outside the backpack. Not a big noise, but a rumbly one. Did you hear that? Asked Stingray. I think it's the x-ray machine. The vet is going to x-ray us one by one and look into our insides with an enormous magnifying glass and then poke us with a giant carrot. I'm sure it's not an x-ray, says Plastic calmly, although she isn't sure at all. An x-ray would be squeakier. Then I think it's a lion, cries Stingray. A lion at the zoo who does not want to be on display with any small creatures like you and me. A lion who doesn't like sharing her swing set and wants all the quarters for herself. She is roaring because she hasn't had any lunch yet, and her favorite food is stingrays. A lion would be fiercer, said Plastic, a bit uncertainly. It would sound hungrier, I bet. Maybe it's a giant buffalo, suggests Lumpy. Maybe it's a dump truck, squeals Stingray, a big orange dump truck tipping out piles of rotten groceries on top of us and trapping us with the garbage eating sharks and the throw up smell. Wouldn't a dump truck be louder? Asks Plastic, though she's starting to think Stingray might have a point. I'm sure it's not a dump truck. The backpack thumps down again with a bang. I would like to be warned, moans Lumpy. Sudden bumps make everything worse than it already is. The girl doesn't love us and she's trying to get rid of us, cries Stingray in a panic. The backpack opens. The rumbly noise gets louder, and the light is very bright. So bright that Stingray, Plastic, and Lumpy have to squinch up their eyes and take deep breaths before they can see where they are. A pair of warm arms takes them all out of the dark, wet bathing suit smell together. The three toys look around. There are small chairs, a sunny window, and a circle of fidgety faces. It is not the vet. It is not the zoo. It is not the dump. They're pretty sure. But where is it? A rumbly noise surges up. A grown-up asks everyone to please be quiet now. And then comes a familiar voice. These are my best friends, says the little girl who owns the backpack and sleeps in the high bed with the fluffy pillows. My best friends in the world. That's why I brought them to show and tell. Welcome, says the teacher. Sticky, unfamiliar fingers pet Lumpy's head and Stingray's plush tail. Plastic is held up for all to admire. We are here to be shown and told, she whispers to Stingray and Lumpy, feeling quite bouncy as she looks around at the schoolroom. Not to be thrown away or put under the x-ray machine. The teacher says Lumpy looks a lot like a real buffalo. Lumpy wonders what the teacher means by real, but he's too happy to worry much about it. We're special, whispers Stingray. We're her best friends. I knew it would be something nice, says Plastic. Funny, but the ride home is not so uncomfortable. The smell is still there, but the backpack seems rather cozy. Plastic has herself a nap. Stingray isn't worried about vets and zoos and garbage dumps anymore. She curls herself into a ball by Lumpy's buffalo stomach. The little girl loves us, she tells him. I knew it all along, really. I just didn't want to say. Lumpy licks Stingray's head once and settles down to wait. When he knows where he's going, traveling isn't so bad, and right now he is going home. Chapter 2: The Serious Problem of Plasticness. The room with the high bed and the fluffy pillows has bookshelves. Plastic never paid much attention to them before, but now she thinks they are interesting. Most of the shelves hold storybooks, but the bottom one has school books on it. Books about animals, the meanings of words, the size of oceans, and the ways of plants. When you've been to school like I have, says Stingray, interrupting one evening as Plastic is looking curiously at the shelves. When you've gone to show and tell and seen the classroom and all the important things they have in there, then you know that books are a place to find out truths. Truths about what? Asks Plastic. Just truths, says Stingray, positioning herself proudly in front of the books. Like what is two and two? Four, pipes up Lumpy, who is watching the sunset from the windowsill nearby. If we want the answers, explains Stingray, as if she hasn't heard him, we can look it up. Truths like these are in books. That's what you learn at school, if you've been to school like I have. We were all at school, mutters Lumpy on the windowsill. Plastic wants to know which book would have the truth inside about two and two. A book on money, says Stingray. It tells you how to be rich and famous, and how to fill up your really big swimming pool with liquid gold, and how to eat expensive chocolates for breakfast, and have banquets for hundreds of your best friends, and swing from chandeliers made from diamonds. Also, how to count numbers together, if that's the kind of truth you are after. How is that a truth? Calls Lumpy. Okay, a fact then. Facts are in books, if you've been to school. Ahem, coughs Lumpy. I was right there next to you, don't you remember? Where? At school. Time for bed, Stingray says importantly. The little girl comes into the bedroom and lifts her up to sleep on the high bed with the fluffy pillows, while Lumpy and Plastic stay where they are. Let's find the book on money, suggests Plastic, when the lights are out and both Stingray and the girl are asleep. Lumpy makes a grouchy noise. Now that it's night and the girl can't see him moving around, he wants to go down the hall to visit Tuk Tuk, the yellow towel who lives in the bathroom. Tuk Tuk always has something interesting to say. She sees a lot of strange behavior in her life as a towel. Although she doesn't get out much, Lumpy particularly likes to hear about toothbrushing and fingernail clipping, things he's not sure he properly understands. I'm busy, he tells Plastic. So Plastic tries to get the one-eared sheep to look for the money book. Is there anything about grass in it? Sheep wants to know. I don't think so. It's the truths and facts of liquid gold swimming pools. Anything about clover? Probably not, Plastic is forced to admit. If it's not going to be interesting, I'd just as soon skip it, Sheep says kindly. She goes to play marbles with the toy mice. Plastic looks at the book by herself, reading the titles on the spines. One explains the meanings of words. One is full of maps. Another is about the wonderful world of plants. But there isn't any book on money or gold swimming pools. And even if there was one, Plastic couldn't pull it out from the shelf. Only one book lies open on the floor so that she can read it. A book about animals with pictures and details about how they live, what they eat, and where they sleep at night. Plastic finds the part about stingrays. They live in the ocean and they flap their flipper wings like birds in the sky. She reads about sheep and how their woolly coats get shorn. She reads about mice who are part of the rodent family. And she reads a good deal about buffaloes and how they run around in herds. Ooh, she realizes, I can read about plastics, but plastics aren't there. She looks again. They still aren't there. Then Plastic goes page by page through the animal book, looking at every picture of every single animal. None of them looks like her. Ladybugs are round and red, but Plastic doesn't have wings like a ladybug. Turtles are round when their legs are inside their shells, but Plastic does not have a hard shell, or any kind of shell at all. Hedgehogs are round when they curl themselves in balls, but Plastic is not spiny like a hedgehog. People say foxes are red, but really they're much more orange. And anyways, Plastic knows she's not a fox. She's not sure she even has a nose. Where are the plastics? She wonders, and calls the toy mice over to help her pull out the book on the meanings of words. The mice skitter off as soon as they are done, leaving Plastic alone with the book. It's called a dictionary. She finds the P's and reads plastic, a material produced by polymeri something or other, a very long word. But where do we live? Wonders Plastic. What do we like to eat? She reads on. Plastic, capable of being shaped or formed. Also, artificial. Plastic doesn't know what artificial means, so she looks that up too. Fake, says the dictionary, not natural. Artificial doesn't sound nice at all. Plastic scoots under the high bed and doesn't come out for several hours. When he gets back from visiting Tuk Tuk the towel, Lumpy finds Plastic and crawls under the bed next to her. Did you know the little girl puts a piece of waxy string in between her teeth every night before bed? He asks. It's called dental floss. No, Plastic didn't know. I wouldn't want string between my teeth, says Lumpy. Plastic is not sure she even has teeth. Especially not with wax. Maybe it feels nice, suggests Plastic. You never know until you try. I know without trying. Could it be a cleaning thing since she does it in the bathroom? Nah, says Lumpy. What could you clean with a piece of string? Plastic doesn't know. All this cleaning. I don't know about it anyway, Lumpy adds. Plastic tells Lumpy about the dictionary and how it says that plastics are artificial. Lumpy scratches his ear and turns around 3 times in the spot where he plans to sleep. You don't say what you really think, he says finally. You pretend everything's all right when it isn't. So? So, that's artificial. What about polymerous something or other? Lumpy curls himself into a ball. It's too late to discuss big words. He closes his eyes. Plastic is the tiniest bit angry. Real buffaloes are interested in other people's problems, she says. Real buffaloes don't sleep when someone is talking to them. I read it in a book. Lumpy lifts his head. His face looks nervous. What do you mean, real buffaloes? Suddenly, Plastic feels like she isn't being very nice. And whatever plastics are, she wants to be a good one. Nothing, she answers. Never mind. I need to know the truth about plastics, Plastic confesses to Stingray the next morning as they're sunning themselves in a square of light on the shaggy rug. I can't find it in a book. What do you need to know? Asks Stingray kindly. I'm sure I can answer. Their natural habitat, says Plastic, and what they eat, and whether they are birds or fish or mammals. Mammals, definitely, answers Stingray, who doesn't actually know. They're very furry plastics, and their natural habitat is the frozen tundra, where icicles grow from the ground, and the wind whistles, and it's dark 30 hours a day in winter. The plastics live in igloos that they built with their teeth, and they eat whale meat and also seals and walruses that they catch and swallow whole. Does that help? I think it's a pretty thorough answer. Yes, thank you, says Plastic, with a bit of a sniffle. I just wonder, she mentions. I'm not very furry. You probably lost all your fur in an accident, says Stingray. It doesn't look bad at all, though, really. Plastic tries to remember a fur-losing accident, but it must have slipped her mind. After 7 hours in front of the television, Plastic is as confused as ever. She has watched 4 cooking shows, 2 soap operas, endless commercials, and 1 after-school special. She knows that there are plastic cups, forks, and containers, that these things are useful for taking on picnics and freezing leftover stew, and that a delightful tofu marinade can be made with only 6 ingredients. She also knows there are plastic toys. May contain small plastic parts, the commercial says, not suitable for children under 3, and plastic garbage bags. But she hasn't seen any of the plastics eating whale meat or living in igloos or growing fur. Though maybe the fur is hard to see on the small television screen. In any case, all the plastics look different. Most of them aren't even red. There isn't any herd like there are herd of buffaloes. Plastics don't build dams or collect pollen or live in tunnels. They do appear to be famous, and yet there are no plastics to whom plastic feels connected. None of them seem to have anything in common besides their plasticness, which isn't much. For 4 days and 4 nights, Plastic feels unbouncy. She doesn't play marbles with the one-eared sheep, she doesn't make jokes with the rocking horse in the corner, and she doesn't play I doubt it with Lumpy or checkers with Stingray. She looks out the window by herself and thinks about Plasticness. On the fifth night, Plastic remembers Tuk Tuk. The towel knows about dental floss and fingernail clippers. Maybe she knows about plastics too. Plastic has only met Tuk Tuk once before, and she feels embarrassed as she creeps down the hall and stops outside the bathroom door. Maybe Tuk Tuk will not want to visit from a small, confused Plastic. After all, she's used to large and furry friends like Lumpy. But Plastic can't go in anymore, staring out the window doing nothing all night. Slowly she enters the bathroom. Tuk Tuk is lying in a pile. The nightlight in the bathroom glows a comforting pink, and the air is still warm from the little girl's bath. "Excuse my appearance," says Tuk Tuk, who can't get around on her own. "Plastic, isn't it? I'm always like this after a bath, damp, on the floor. I'd like an iron and a fold, but this disarray is all that can be managed. Glad to see you nonetheless." Plastic begins to cry. Tuk Tuk seems like everything a towel should be. So nice, so floppy, and just so very towely. "Oh, Plastic," soothes Tuk Tuk. "There, there. Come wipe yourself on my corner. I don't mind." Plastic has a good long cry and feels a little better. "I'm a rotten Plastic," she sniffs to Tuk Tuk. "I've lost my fur. I don't know my habitat or my eating habits or whether I build a nest or run in a herd. I'm not even sure I like what plastics are anyway." A big tear rolls onto the bathroom tile and she begins mumbling about fake, artificial, and polymerous something or other. "Oh, my dear," comforts Tuk Tuk, "you're upset about nothing." "It's not nothing, it's plasticness." "Listen, I have something to tell you." "You do?" "It's important. Are you ready?" Plastic thinks she is. "You are not a plastic." "I'm not?" Plastic isn't sure if she's happy or un. "Plastic is just your name," says Tuk Tuk. "It's obvious to anyone who knows anything precisely what you are." "It is?" "Of course, you are a rubber ball." "I am?" "I've seen balls before. I'll see balls after you." "A ball is what you are," says Tuk Tuk. "Tell me, do you bounce?" "Yes," cries Plastic, "I do." And she bounces once, very high for show. "Do you roll?" "Yes." Plastic rolls around the bathroom until she crashes into the base of the toilet. "And have you got front legs and back legs?" Not exactly," says Plastic, who most certainly doesn't have any. "And no fur whatsoever?" "No. That's normal for a ball, you know." "What about how I don't have much nose?" "You mean how you don't have any nose?" Yes," says Plastic. "That's normal too," explains Tuk Tuk. Plastic feels relieved. "I've been around a long time," says Tuk Tuk, "and I've never seen a ball with fur or legs or a nose." "You're a ball, Plastic," says the towel, wrapping her terry cloth corners around her friend. "Don't let anyone tell you different." "I'm a ball," cries Plastic. "A ball, ball, ball." Suddenly she feels bouncy again. Really, really bouncy. She jumps on the tub and rolls around super fast. She bounces herself so high she hits the ceiling. "A ball!" "Enough now. I need a rest," said Tuk Tuk. "All right." Plastic stops bouncing for a second and gives the towel a kiss. Then she goes rolling, bouncing, rolling, bouncing, bounce, bounce, bouncing down the hall to the bedroom. Thank you so much for reading with me today. I'll see you for the next chapter.